are you running? Why are you running?
Hey Exiles, this is Video Game Butter. Today I'm breaking down everything you need to know about this incredible ranger setup, the skills, the gear, and the strategies to dominate in Path of Exile 2. Let's get started. Starting off with the main skill, we're using Lightning Arrow. This is paired with Lightning Rod, Orb of Storms, Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ice, Wind Dancer for defenses, Cast on Shock, and Cast on Freeze. So as you see, I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spirit skills, but we're only using 4 because we are short in spirit. If you're short on spirit, you can get this from the body armor or the amulet. Right now, I do not have the enough spirit, but I have all of the spirit from the armor instead, since I don't have a amulet with spirit. I think you can get 10 to 20 spirit out of the amulet, but I'm not sure. But yeah, if you're lucky, you can get 40 to 60 spirit in just one item and focus on other attributes. So for the lightning arrow, we're mainly using for the support is Ice Bite and Cold Infusion, Martial Tempo, Primal Armament, and Inspiration. You don't need Inspiration if you do not have mana issues, but in my case, I'm having trouble with mana regeneration since I do not have it on any gear, so this really helps maintain my skill for a long time, especially in high mob density places, which I cannot one-shot enemies, say tier 13 and up. But if you have enough mana regeneration, you can use Long Shot in this slot instead. It will give you a high boost of 35% damage for this one. You can also use Glaciation if you're having trouble freezing enemies, but it's okay if you have enough cold damage in your gears, having it in bow, the quiver, and the gloves. So for the skills in Lightning Rod, we're using Scatter Shot to have more projectiles, for concentrated effect for more area damage, Resin Tempest for more damage, and Heft for another damage. So if you have 5 slots, you can add another free modifier here, but 4 slots is enough for the skill. For the Orb of Storms, we're using Chain for more chain reactions, Resistance for more duration, Unleash so we can cast it more, and Overabundance. For the Herald of Thunder, we're using Lightning Infusion, Conduction, and Lightning Mastery. Herald of Ice, we're using Cold Penetration, Magnified Effect, Elemental Focus, and Cold Mastery. For the Wind Dancer, we're using Clarity for more mana regeneration, Blind for defenses. Now we have Cast on Shock and Cast on Freeze. For the Cast of Shock, we're mainly using this for bosses. We have Ball Lightning inserted, Deceleration, Impetus, and Energy Retention. Deceleration is one of the most important support gem for this one since it really lessens the projectile speed of the orbs, and you want it as low as possible so that it can damage the most a lot of times. Now, if you're not doing bosses on the maps or anything, you can just deactivate this and use Cast on Freeze. Now this pairs well with our Shatter since we proc a lot of freezes. Now for this one, we're using Voltaic Mark so they can shock the enemy and have more area effect damage. We're using Life Tap and Innervate for this one for more damage. Next up is the gears. So when choosing a gear, look for a gear with high DPS as much as possible with cold damage and attack speed. Cold damage and attack speed is very important. In here, I tried a bow without attack speed and it feels really clunky in my opinion. If you ever tried a bow with high attack speed, this really is one of the best stat for this equipment. Now I think I have around 290 DPS for this one, but if you're lucky, you can get around 300 to 350 and even 400, but it is really has a high cost in the market right now. Now for the armors, the headgear, the gloves, the boots, you can just focus on 4 main stats: the maximum life, the fire resistance, cold resistance, and lightning resistance. And if you're a resistance cap, you can now focus on your chaos resistance since chaos damage is so high in this game, unlike in PoE 1. You can also squish cold damage in the gloves if you're lucky, but I don't have it right now since I can't find anything that is on the market. For the quiver, this is important since all the stats in the quiver can be doubled with our passive skill tree, which is the quiver effect. So in this one, we have about 70% of increased stat within the passive skill tree for our quiver. So get the highest stat as much as possible for this one and you're good to go. For the boots, you can also look for the one with high movement speed and of course life and the resistances. Same thing with the belt and accessories. You can just look for the elemental resistances and have your resistance cap early in the game because in the late game, in higher tiers of the map, it is very hard if you're not hitting the resistance cap. I think everything could one-shot you if you're not in that high resistance cap yet. So in this Passage 3, we're just focusing on attack speed, movement speed, and elemental damage. You can get attack speed from here, you can get elemental damage here, and can get attack damage from here, elemental damage. Now here I'm just using this one as a stat point because I am needing them for my gears. But if you have high stats in strength and intelligence, you can just focus your points in other passives. You can also get this skill cast speed and movement speed from this node. And for the gems, you should focus on the attack speed and movement speed. Right now, I'm not getting the movement speed and attack speed. I think I have one in here. This is really expensive. I think I got this one for about 50 exalt. This is really expensive right now because it's the meta. Movement speed is really good in this game, and it is essential to get them from jewels. Right now I have one, and then for the other I have attack speed, projectile, attack speed, projectile, and so on. So if you're having trouble in mana regeneration still, you can get this mental toughness. This is very helpful since it reduces your mana cost while in your high mana. It helps you spam the lightning arrow as well. And I think that's all about it for this build. For the gameplay, you can just spam lightning arrow, and if you're having a hard time or having trouble with the mob or an elite, you can just throw a lightning rod and spam your lightning arrow. And if you're in a boss, switch to cast on shock, cast your lightning rod, cast your orb of storms, and then spam your lightning arrow and watch the boss melt.